Hey, what's up guys? I'm Dimebot, and this is Pyre. This is the new game from Supegiant. You may recognize them as the publishers of Bastion and Transistor, both games that I absolutely loved. So, let's take a look at a few things here. Alright, for settings, we've got not a lot. Aim assist can be useful. You can hold the left mouse to automatically lock onto adversaries, and the rights, we will talk about the rights. That's kind of the meat of the game. You can turn subtitles on and off. Separate volume sliders, change your gender as how they refer to you in the campaign, and then difficulty. This does have a pretty big impact on the game. Controls, here you go, you can play with a mouse and keyboard or a PlayStation controller. Sorry, Xbox One players, this one's only on PC and PlayStation 4. You have WASD, you have QWER, it's pretty well done. You can rebind things as well. You do have multiple save slots, and then display. You've got borderless, full screen, and a variety of options for resolution. That's about it. This is a interesting game aesthetically, so I'm not too upset about the lack of graphics options, although a few things would have been nice. Now, warning before we go into this, it is literally impossible for me to show you this game without some minor spoilers. I will do my best to avoid a lot of them, but there's going to be spoilers by the nature of the game. I've put about an hour and a half into it. If you want to see what that looks like, the stream VOD will be linked below. That being said, if you don't want spoilers, I do recommend this game. That's the TLDR version of the video, and you don't want to see anything else, it's time to close the window. However, if you do want to see a little bit more in depth, let's go. Right. So, I'm just going to kind of skip through this for you guys. As I said, spoilers. Alright, so you are the reader, and it is your job to try to help yourself and your companions here get out of the downside where you've been cast out into exile, and you do that by taking part in the rites. Now, as the reader, you can look into the skies and find your next destination. And this is, in fact, going to be our next destination. So, now we have to go north. You'll notice the very striking art style and how this is kind of different from Supegiant games. Now let's take a look here. This is the Black Wagon. This is kind of our home, our base in the game. And there is a lot of stuff in here, a lot of stuff that's interactable, like these drive imps and this candle. You can also talk to characters. I'm not going to talk to Ruki just yet. You have Tizo's Nest, which is one of your other characters. And then you have this book. This is the Book of Rites. And the Book of Rites has multiple chapters that unlock as you progress, but it talks to you about the lore of the game. Now, it's a little hard to read like this, but you can click inspect and it brings it up like that. Supegiant, rather than having an omnipresent narrator in this game, and there is still a narrator of sorts, but they have chosen to deliver a lot of content via this book. And as you can see, there's quite a good bit of it, and I haven't even unlocked very much. So, interesting way to deliver the lore. Now, this is more of an ensemble game than older Supegiant games where it was just the kid, or just Rose was her name, the protagonist rather, in Transistor. So this is your primary hub, and there's neat little touches, like when I hover over Headwind's cooking tins, it tells me that Headwind's actually scouting the premises. And Tizo's running the centrifuge. The minstrel's Tariq, he's watching the sky. We can actually play versions of the game's music through here. So, for example, I could... There we go. The music in this game is quite striking. I'll let you guys hear some of it in a little while. Now, through here is the common room. In the common room, we can check out our various party members. This is Headwind. It tells you his right powers. It tells you personal information about him, like his race, his past, his astral sign, what he did to get exiled here. and how long he's exiled, and then it gives you a little biography of how that happened. Now, I've talked to this character and gotten this information. If we go to Judariel right here, I haven't really spoken with her that much in some of the optional conversations, and I don't know this information about her, and I find this is a really interesting way to flesh out the characters. They also have levels. You'll see them, let's move to somebody else who doesn't cover up the bar. You'll see them right here. They get a kind of rest XP if you don't use them in an active rite, and they can have these talismans that you can put on them. They also have a mastery system, which right here looks like this. It's a talent tree that you can choose either side of if you want, and there's kind of a really good ability at the bottom of each one, but you can use these to customize your characters and tailor them. So for example, with Hedwyn, I have set him up to regenerate stamina twice as fast for him and his allies, and while he's running the orb, which we'll get to, he and his allies move and pass more quickly. Now down at the bottom here, Hedwyn and his allies cause banished adversaries to remain banished for 2 seconds longer. It's basically a retime debuff for the enemy. And then right here I have the Mooncrest. After being banished, he has a chance to return immediately 30%. So each character has one of these trees, and they're all pretty unique. So let's talk to Ruki real quick. This is kind of a story spoiler. I'm going to go ahead and skip through it, but these allow you to build up your relationship with the characters, and you can see that they has a kind of gibberish speak here, but most is delivered by text, but the little lines they deliver, the facial expressions, which are really well drawn, although I could wish for a little more animation, they really convey the feeling. Also, he's a dog with a mustache wearing a dog bone gold collar chain. So, yes, interesting. Let's go ahead and exit now. We're going to want to continue on our journey. And here you see the downside, the overworld map. Let me go ahead and get through this, do some work on it. So lots of little things happen. Now, the game does open up eventually, and you are allowed to travel around a little bit, but I kind of haven't gotten there yet, and also I really wouldn't want to show it as it's major spoilery. But notice the map is really interesting. It's multi-layered, kind of pans up. It's a really interesting, and the use of color in this game is wonderful. Absolutely stunning looking game, and it gets even more so once we actually get into the rites. So oftentimes it'll ask you to consider how to proceed. So it's as dismal as she predicted. There's thick and foul. So we have to cross the marshlands. And now we're going to have to talk to the minstrel. There's a lot of mystery going on with these characters. You apparently are working for somebody you don't know you're working, who they are. The Beyonder Crystal. Now, to kind of deliver lore, Supegiant has gone with this hypertext system right here. So I can see, if I highlight the Beyonder Crystal, it's an ancient artifact connected to the rites, and there's also usually a quote there. So you hear him or see him mention triumvirates there. That's what they call a team. You can do only 3 at a time in combat in the rites, and everybody wants to win so that they can get out of exile and return to society, basically. So let's take a look at this crystal. Oh, thank you. I'm not a total idiot. The Nightwings is the team that we are currently on. Alright, now. So these guys are apparently trapped in here. So she is going to offer us trials. And you can practice. Okay. Let's bid her farewell. I actually want to move on right now. So, the game constantly adds a steady drip of things for you. Let's continue our journey. And here the game is going to ask us to choose a path. We can get a job here faster. Let's go ahead and you'll see that there are various things. We could improve a talisman if we take a job here. I want to go ahead and take the faster route and not suffer as much. The animation on the wagon is great. Let's journey onward. The game is a little hand-holdy at first, but it really serves to... I wouldn't even call it hand-holdy. It's very linear at first, and it serves to enhance the narrative quite a lot. So now, we can read a new page in the book. We can also talk to the slug at the slug market. This guy is interesting. There's actually a button, or a way to interact with him to make him stop talking. So we have... few things. Stardust allows us to raise the rank of talismans. Here is another talisman, which is quite expensive. Gold, or soul as they call it, is pretty hard to come by in this game, but this should help us out a little bit. So I'm going to pop into the black wagon here and equip this. So who are we going to take in this next one? I'm probably going to take Jadariel just to show you guys a little bit about the diversity of the team. And we are going to commence the ride. This is the main meat of the gameplay. Tizzo. He's one of our imps, and we have to hover over his stuff to see what he wants. He's very concerned about something in the vicinity. And now we're going to have a little event. This is apparently another team. A bog crone. And what does Tizzo say? He has no love of her. Alright. Let's go. So as I said, this is the main meat of the gameplay right here. This little event will happen when you arrive at your destination. And you will be taken to the rights. They notice that message right there. This game does not have a persistent failure state. You can lose and still continue on.
Made it all the way to the detestable pit of Middle East.
And here's your narrator.
In doing so, of course, you have disturbed your ancient adversaries, the withdrawn. The deranged witch who leads them has big plans in store, should she prevail in all this. Now, as you know, I normally would wish you a shameful defeat. But in this case, I wish you a little bit of luck.
So here are the excuse me, here are the Pyres, which the games are basically named for. Rookie's got something to say to her. Oh boy. Oh, good job, Rookie. Okay, she's creepy looking. The writing is often very, very good. There's a lot of humor in this game. So let's choose. So Hedwyn is kind of a all-arounder. Jadariel is very large. Rookie's very fast. Faye is pretty fast. Tizzo I am going to choose because he can basically fly. So there's our team. So this is kind of a mix. And I'm kind of putting Rookie in because of that interaction to see what it does. So, here we go with the gameplay. So this orb is going to drop from the sky. And you'll notice that as I touched her, she died. That's because when you have the orb, you lose this protective aura that is around you. Now I am able to cast right there and disrupt them, and there you go. You run the orb into the enemy Pyre, and you knock itself down. When it reaches 0, you win. Now the character that I just used is going to be banished for a short time. You see, Jadariel has a huge aura. Auras kind of change size depending on the type of character. You'll notice that she's got a very interesting aura. Ah, messed that one up. Needed to switch. So controlling it with the mouse and keyboard is pretty easy. You kind of click where you want to go. It just takes a little getting used to. Now, Tizo here can fly, and if I time it right, I could actually have... jumped in there. Oop. You can also zip around. So, team strategy and team comp is a very big deal here. This comp is actually working out fairly well. You'll notice that Rookie here is very fast. There we go. You can also pass the ball, as you may have seen the computer doing. Tizo self-destructs. Now, part of the strategy here is going to be... Ah! So they made me drop it right there with a well-timed jump. And they're going to score because everybody's dead. This will respawn on my character, so... There we go. As I said earlier, if I lose, I'm not going to try this again. I'm simply going to continue on the story. Now, they're going to be pissed. So part of the strategy in this game is to position your characters and then to switch and have them set up for you to pass. And great, she's...
Best beware of foul sorceries.
She has set up a acid pool trap. So this is actually not going very well for me right now. You can also fling it into the pass the ball into the orb like they or the Pyre like they just did. That's gonna be the end of Tizo.
Careless step.
You'll notice that the casters also have wildly different sizes to their shots they can fire, and there is a critical shot system as well. That should do it.
Yes.
You notice that Kerfang on Rookie, that's actually his talisman giving him extra damage. That strategy is ceasing to work. That's not good. Come on. That was a very risky move, but I think it's going to work. Nope. So, various enemy types, and obviously my own movement types require a lot of adaptations. It's actually pretty hard to play this game and talk at the same time. It's very strategic. There we go. Alright, we've got them down to 4. That zip move is fantastic. Oh, blew it at the end. can be a little hard to control when you're zipping like that, or dashing like that. Not in a bad way, it just feels like the character has, appropriate momentum. Use of cover, also pretty important. One interesting thing you'll notice is when I get close to Dario there, our auras join together.
Simply abhorrent. The flame is stricken.
There are little bonus challenges occasionally too, and
Now take it.
come on, we can finish this. So Daria also has the ability to knock people back when she jumps, which is actually really useful. There we go, and it's done.
The Nightwings prevail.
So that is the core gameplay loop of Pyre, and the combat is very satisfying. It's very
complete.
strategic, a lot deeper in terms of team selection than you would think. Now, there is a multiplayer mode for this, but sadly, it's only local co-op or against AI. I would suggest you not play it until you finish the game, because it will pull in AI teams from later on in the story and spoil things. Now, this team is going to remember this, and if we face them again, they'll be leveled up. They'll remember this match, and everything carries forward. Now, we get to level up. So, she has, well, let's use her masteries. So, we can, after using a rush, she can rush right away. I'm going to go with that. That's very nice. Rookie also leveled.
The exiled Rookie opened up his eyes a bit.
They call leveling enlightenment, and you have to be enlightened in order to leave the downside. You can jump a second time, so he gets a double jump. Yes, please.
A blessing from the Alpha Chief himself.
And Tizo has leveled up. Now, this guy is really interesting. I'm going to go ahead and move on from this one, but there's a lot of interesting possibilities with leveling a team. You can really customize them, and this isn't even all the characters. So yeah, guys, that's kind of a first look at Pyre. It's very different from Supegiant. They've done an absolutely fantastic job of drawing together a really interesting ensemble cast. It's very different from them, and some people may balk at having so much lore delivered the way it is, but I think it's a very good way to do it, considering how many characters there really are. Alright guys, that's going to do it for me. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Hey, did you enjoy that video? Awesome! How about you click that subscribe button right there, or that Patreon button, or if you're too lazy to do either one of those, check out these other two videos. I bet you'll like them.